For the third straight day, the country records over 20,000 cases, pushing active infections to over 157,000. Amid the alarming rate of infections, the DILG says granular lockdowns will have to be implemented. But the palace says President Duterte has yet to give this move a green light. Meanwhile, the government confirms that the country's COVID-19 vaccine certification portal is set to be launched tomorrow. In other news, a portion of the National Archives building caught fire earlier today. The NAP says none of its collection were damaged. An Egyptian engineer has invented remote-controlled robot that can extract water from the air. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Riza Diaz. The country has logged over 20,000 new cases for the third day in a row. The country's total caseload is now at 2.08 million, with more than 157,000 active cases. 173 people have died from the disease over the past 24 hours, raising the death toll to over 34,000. Meanwhile, some 20,000 patients have recovered. Total recoveries are now at 1.88 million. Now, amid record-breaking infections, the health department says that the worst is not yet over, as they project cases in Metro Manila to reach 43,000 by the end of the month. Active cases in NCR could also surge to 150,000, a far jump from the current 41,000 active infections. DOH Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeres said this forecast was based on mobility, healthcare capacity, adherence to the minimum public health standards, as well as the transmission rate of the Delta variant. However, Vergeres clarified that the projections are not set in stone and that the figures are used to guide the government's pandemic response.
Pag nagbigay tayo ng projections, it doesn't mean na mangyayari talaga yung mga numero na yan. These are just kaya tinawag na projections. Nakita natin na pataas ng pataas pa rin ang projections natin, and that is the characteristic of the Delta variant. Kaya po namin pinapaulit-ulit sa inyo mula pa nung umpisang nakadetect tayo ng Delta variant that we will expect a rise in the number of cases, and it's going to be exponential.
With President Duterte yet to give his go signal for the pilot implementation of a granular lockdown in Metro Manila, the Interior Department says that his decision will come within the week. In an earlier interview here on One News, DILG Undersecretary Martin Nino said that the decision of President Duterte has already been scheduled within the week. Dino added that they will be needing Duterte's approval as they look to release new guidelines for the implementation of granular lockdowns.
Hopefully this week, no? Schedule na yan. Kailangan maglabas tayo ulit ng mga bagong panuntunan. Kamukha niyan, dumadami pa rin yung nahawaan. Pero kailangan din natin pagalawin ng ekonomiya.
Dino meanwhile stressed that local governments and barangays must be ready to distribute ayuda and any other necessities needed by residents. He noted that LGUs will also have to come up with a list of areas that will be recommended to be placed under granular lockdown.
Kung may pera pa ang barangay, kung may pera ang city at municipality, sila ang magpo-provide yan. Tapos nandiyan naman natin mga DSWD na meron naman yan na food pack na pwede natin ibigay. And of course, hindi lang yan, pati yung mga gamot. At saka yung mga standby barangay health emergency response team natin na magmumonitor dun sa lugar na merong positive.
The COMELEC is meanwhile allowing the resumption of voter registration in MECQ MECQ areas starting tomorrow, September 6. COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez said that registration in MECQ areas will be held from 8 in the morning to 5 p.m. starting tomorrow. In-mall voter registration will also be allowed. Aside from this, the COMELEC and bank approved a resolution allowing women to use their maiden name to register. Also expected tomorrow is the soft launch of the country's vaccine certificate port, VaxCert PH. OFWs and Filipinos leaving the Philippines will be prioritized in the initial phase of the program. This applies to those with existing residences in Metro Manila and Baguio City. The implementation of the VaxCert PH will be open to the general public at a later date. Coronavirus cases are also increasing in Mindanao, with some hospitals scrambling to add more beds for COVID-19 patients. One local government head is even urging the national government to implement MECQ in the area to curb the spread of infections. Gemma Vansenia has the details.
Due to the overwhelming volume of COVID-19 cases, one of Davao Region's main COVID facility, the Southern Philippines Medical Center, had to put up tents outside their emergency room as extension for their COVID-19 wards. Patients who wished to be admitted had to wait along Dumanlas Road before they could be accommodated. Some non-COVID patients are separated in an open tent in a corner and had to bear the warm weather. The hospital also put up tents outside their OB/GYN departments since they also have pregnant women patients who are positive for COVID-19. Last week, the hospital reached 100% capacity for ICU and ward beds. Thus, they are looking for more areas to be converted as COVID ward. SPMC's chief of hospital said the surge might be due to the new COVID variant.
We assume that itong na nangyari ngayon is really the cause of Delta variant.
Opo.
Kasi ang bilis ng transmission. Kaya puspusan rin kami sa mga paghanap ng areas.
Odan also revealed that their main problem is the shortage of staff.
Marami rin nagkaka-COVID kahit na fully vaccinated. Pero ang maganda lang din doon, it's really mild. Another challenge yung nagre-resign. Not because of COVID, but because of greener pasture, because of work abroad.
Active cases now in Davao Region climbed to 13,636, 6,208 of which are from Davao City. In Agusan del Sur, the number of COVID-19 patients are also increasing. Here in Democrito O Plaza Memorial Hospital, all COVID ward and critical care unit beds are occupied, reason why some patients had to be placed outside the emergency room while waiting for vacancy. The hospital also placed tents and beds outside the facility in case more patients will arrive.
It's very hard for us to deal with this kind of situation because all the 5 hospitals being subsidized by the provincial government are already full up to the brim. Ay ginagawa kaming yung old building namin sa Dio Plaza Memorial Hospital ay we repaired it, and that can accommodate up to 100 more beds.
Confirmed COVID-19 cases in Agusan del Sur has climbed to 6,862, prompting the LGU to reimpose more stringent health protocols. Kane also said they are now appealing to the national IATF to elevate them to ECQ status.
This time, na from MECQ dapat mag-ECQ na. Kasi nga hindi na mapigilan yung pagdami ng mga kaso at marami pa rin tao na hindi sumusunod sa mga protocols, lalo na sa mga public gatherings.
For News 5, Gem Avancenia, we are One News.
Here are other stories we're keeping our eyes on. A magnitude 4.9 earthquake hit the city of Sipalay in Negros Occidental at 5 p.m. today. The epicenter of the quake was detected 55 kilometers northwest of Sipalay. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology says they're not expecting aftermaths from the quake. PNP Chief Guillermo Elizar orders all police chiefs to intensify their crackdown against loose firearms. This in preparation for the lead-up to the 2022 national elections. Elizar urges all commanders to expedite their accounting of unregistered guns in the country. The move comes after President Duterte proposed to arm volunteer civilian organizations to prevent election-related violence. And a fire broke out in the office of the National Archives in UN Avenue in Manila earlier 1 o'clock in the morning. The blaze was put out shortly after 2 hours. No casualty was recorded. Authorities are still probing about the origin of the fire. The National Archives house important historical documents of the government, but they said none of their collections were damaged. Here are other stories we're following across the globe. Brazil, a federal health regulator, Anvisa has suspended the use of over 12 million doses of Sinovac COVID-19 vaccine after learning that these were produced in an authorized plant. Anvisa said the manufacturing unit was not inspected and was not approved in the authorization of emergency use of Sinovac vaccine. The agency said that the ban was a precautionary measure to avoid exposing the population to possible imminent risk. In Afghanistan, domestic flights have resumed between Kabul and 3 major provincial cities. Ariana Afghan Airlines has resumed its flights between Kabul and the western city of Herat in northern Afghanistan and Kandahar in the south. Qatar's ambassador to Afghanistan earlier said that a technical team was able to reopen the Kabul airport, repairing the runway in cooperation with Afghan authorities. Now, despite the detection of the new COVID-19 variant, U.S. health experts maintain that this is not an immediate threat. White House Chief Medical Advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci said that there is not enough clinical data to back the threat of the new variant at present. Still, Fauci said they are keeping a very close eye on what happens with the new variant in the future. Now, how far would you go to produce water? Well, one robot in Egypt can make water out of thin air, literally. Don't even underestimate what the remote-controlled robot named Elu can do. Now, if you're stuck in a desert, this robot might just save your life. By condensing moisture from humidity, he can produce water out of air. Seems miraculous, but it was proven. Elu is the brainchild of a 27-year-old Egyptian mechatronics engineer. Elu is trained to perform under pressure, not only on Earth, but potentially during space flights or even on Mars. And for more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on a Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.